Welcome. My name is Rabbi David Ebner, and we're in Beit Avichai. Wherever we are, we're in Beit Avichai in our four-part series of lectures on poetry and their interplay with the four Chagim of Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot and Simchat Torah. And today, we're in Yom Kippur. The lecture today is Yom Kippur on a Rooftop, which of course would seem to be a strange place to be on Yom Kippur. During this lecture, we're going to be going once again on a journey. And this journey will begin on a rooftop in Brooklyn sometime, roughly, I'll say around 1973, and then move back in time to 1811 to the Ukraine in a town called Uman, move back closer to the present, roughly around 1995, to a basketball stadium in Israel in the Galil, shift back to the Sinai Desert some 3,000 years ago, and conclude in Poland in 1943 or 44 in a bunker in a shtetl in a small town called Zelchov. And the poem that we are going to be concerned with in the context of Yom Kippur is a poem, perhaps audaciously, if you will, called Psalm. Now, Psalm is the English word for a book of Psalms by King David, Sefer Tehillim, and Psalm always implies song. So the name of this poem, in a certain sense, is a song. In Hebrew, the word shir can be translated as a song. Its root meaning is a poem. What shir really means is a poem. But poetry is never just read. And poetry is never read to yourself. It's read out loud. And when you read poetry out loud, you must sing it. Poetry, in any language, is an attempt to stretch language to speak about things that are beyond normal, everyday language. Beyond language of words is the language of sound, which we call music. So the two go together. Here's a poem by Harvey Shapiro. I am still on a rooftop in Brooklyn on your holy day. The harbor is before me, Governor's Island, Verrazano Bridge, and the Narrows. I keep in my head what Rabbi Nachman said about the world being a narrow bridge, and that the important thing is not to be afraid. So on this day, I bless my mother and father that they not be fearful where they wander. And I ask you to bless them. And before you close your book of life, your Sefer HaChaim, remember that I always praised your word and your splendor, and that my tongue tried to say your name on Court Street in Brooklyn. Take me safely through the Narrows to the sea. I repeat the last line. Take me safely. The poet is praying. He's been speaking to God on the rooftop in Brooklyn. Take me safely through the narrows to the sea. Let me just clarify something about places in this poem. I presume that everybody knows where Brooklyn is. There are other references of places. There's a place called the Narrows. There is a place called Governor's Island. There is a place called a bridge called Verrazano Bridge. The great river that flows into the sea, associated with New York, discovered in 1523 by Verrazano, is the Hudson River. There's a place where you come, there's the upper Hudson Bay and the lower Hudson Bay, and there's a place where it's at its narrowest. And that place is called the Narrows, and it's at that point that the bridge stretches from Brooklyn to the other side, another borough of New York City called Staten Island. That's the Verrazano Bridge. So those are the places. I placed this poem in 1973 or 4 simply because in those years, take it personally, in those years, I taught in college in Brooklyn Heights, and on my long day I would take a walk and sit on the promenade and see part of this scene. But the poet, Harvey Shapiro, is on Yom Kippur. We know where he is. He's on a rooftop. But this was not a time of pandemic when people were davening perhaps on rooftops. Where he is not in synagogue. He is not in shul. He is all by himself. And my goodness, it's the one day a year that everybody comes to shul. Everybody comes to synagogue. He's on a rooftop in Brooklyn, all by himself. But in another sense, he is in Uman with Rabbi Nachman. In Uman, Rabbi Nachman dying of tuberculosis. Uman is in the Ukraine. Dying of tuberculosis. He's still in his 30s. He issues the great charge to his Hasidim, the Breslover Hasidim, though there were very few of them in those days, that the rule in life is lo lityaesh. In his last teaching, Parshat Ve'etchanan, he cries out that there is no such thing as despair in the world. Lo lityaesh. Do not despair. Despair again. Do not fall into despair. There is no such thing as despair. What does that mean, that there's no such thing as despair? Look around the world. In the second volume of Rabbi Nachman's teachings, we have a teaching that I dare say is most widely known of all Hasidic teachings. It's a song. I see people with magnets on the refrigerator, right? With these words. And Rabbi Nachman says, I'm quoting, Vida, you should know, she'adam tzarich lavor al gesher tsar me'od me'od, ve'haklal ve'ha'ikar lo lefached klal. Know that man in this world has to pass over a narrow bridge, and the rule and the law and The essence of life is not to be afraid. Kol olam kulo gesher tsar miyod, gesher tsar miyod. It's a very narrow bridge. V'haikar, lo lefached klal. Not to be afraid at all. I personally know exactly what this means. Exactly. I'll tell you why. I neurotically or psychotically, as the case may be, suffer from a fear of heights. If anybody gets near, no, I'm not afraid of, can I walk over here? I'll walk over here. I'm not afraid. I can deal with this. But if this were up this high, okay, I would start to get really nervous. If we're up to there, I would begin to tremble and I'd be moving back. I can't even watch other people stand at the edge of cliffs. It's a gesher tsar me'od. There's a footbridge in the Andes and you have to cross it. It's very narrow. I would be frozen in spot. I know what this means. Going from Uman to somewhere in the Galil in Israel, a basketball game, I may have the year wrong, but there was a team in Israel called Galil El Yom. I imagine it still exists. But it did something remarkable that year, and it was beating everybody. And I was once watching a game on television, and the Galil El Yom was losing. Oh my gosh, what's going to be? Was wird sein? What's going to happen? Ay, ay, ay. And then from the stadium, I heard a nigun, a melody and song going up, right? All the fans of Galil El Yom, who were not, I dare say, Breslover Hasidim, were singing, V'haikar, lo lefached. We're not afraid, we're going to win. Gesher tsar miyod, it looks hopeless, we're not going to get across, we're not going to succeed. But, ninatzeach, we will get across the bridge. And so we have a person who is seeing this. He's seeing a bridge. He's seeing the narrows. And he's a poet. And he knows Rabbi Nachman. I know why that he knows Rabbi Nachman. Because the poet writes and says, I keep in mind what Rabbi Nachman said about the world being a narrow bridge, and that the important thing is not to be afraid. And so his tefillah takes place by visualizing the narrows. Shapiro actually lived in Brooklyn Heights. By visualizing, literally visualizing, not in the mind's eye, but in the sight's eye, in his eyesight, he sees a bridge and he sees life and he sees the narrows, and you have to get to the other side. And his parents, it's Yom Kippur. And what Jew will not show up on Yom Kippur to say Yizkar in memory of those who have departed, to say to God, as on Rosh Yeshiva, we are called to remember God. So on Yom Kippur, we call on God to remember those who have departed, who have crossed over. And he says, so on this day, I bless my mother and father, that they be not fearful where they wander. And just in case we don't get it yet, and I ask you to bless them, but before you close your book of life, your Sefer HaChaim, it's about, I'm alive. remember something about my life that I've lived until now. It's Yom Kippur and the Sefer HaChaim. The Sefer HaChaim. He has in mind, of course, he knows that great Piyut, that great poem, medieval poem, Unetanet Tokev Kedushat Hayom, Ki Hu Norav Hayom. This poem that we say in the liturgy of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. The power of this day, it's for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Uva shofar gadol yitaka, the great shofar will be sounded, but what will be heard? Kol, the sound of damama, of silence, the sound of damama, daka. Kol damama daka, the sound of, what does this mean? How would you translate that? It's going to be sound. There's going to be sound. There's going to be noise. There's going to be a kol. It's going to be great kol, but it's going to be damama daka, but this damama, this, what is it? Quiet? Malachim yechafezun, the angels tremble. The chil urachada, they are possessed of trembling. It's the Sefer HaChaim. We all know, we all remember, if not the first paragraph, we remember the second paragraph of this poem, of the second stanza, if you will, which begins, the Rosh Hashanah Yikatevu. It is all written down, but it is sealed over Yom Kippur Yechatemu. It is sealed on the day of Yom Kippur. Who shall live? Who shall die? Who in fire? Who in water? Miyichye umiyamut. It's hard to say those words without trepidation, without sadness. I will admit personally, and I am the chazan. People apparently are not that interested in a nice voice, but I am the chazan many years in the yeshivot that I've been associated with. And one often starts with tears. And this year, I never cried that much, and I certainly never cried when I said aloud, "Mi b'magefa, who in a plague?" And here we are. So we take this all very seriously. What is meant? This point, I want to backtrack for a moment and ask the following question. Now, when I teach students, especially when I teach them how to begin to read a pasuk properly, a verse in the Torah, or even more specifically, how to read a line in the Gemara properly, what I will often do with them is not start with the Gemara, but start with a legal text. I like to use the Constitution of the United States of America. And I give them one of the articles in the Constitution, and I say, what does this mean? How can this text be read? That's what we call it. How can you parse this text? So let us go back to the first line of this poem. I am still on a rooftop in Brooklyn. Let's ask the simple word. What does the word still mean in this poem? What does still mean? Now, does that mean, well, I was here last year, or I've been here for a long time? In other words, still refers to the time spent in a particular event or a particular place? Or does it mean I am still on the rooftop in Brooklyn? It's Yom Kippur. I'm not in shul. It's Yom Kippur. I'm not saying words. I am still. I am silent. I am praying a true silent prayer. And of course, the poet will tell us, I keep in my head. This is what I'm feeling. Can't get into now the issue of why it's important to actually say words. But there is a language of silence. I am always suspicious of people who say that they speak the language of silence, and yet I respect it. Uva shofar gadol yitaka. A great shofar is sounded. V'kol d'mama daka. How should this be translated? Dome means silence. So I'll give you a number of translations. The King James translation of the Bible translates this, and the phrase appears originally in the book of Kings. Eliyahu has run away, the prophet Elijah has run away from the people who are after him, after his life. And he's come to Har Chorev, Mount Sinai. And God keeps asking him, why are you here? Why have you abandoned your mission? God says to him, say, Vamadata, go out and stand on the mountain. And God is passing, just like God passed before Moshe, whose face lit up. A great wind, mefarek harim umeshaber slaim. A great wind, a whirlwind, a tornado, the terrible noise of rocks breaking. Lifnei Hashem, lo beruach Hashem. God was not in the wind. After the wind, rash, an earthquake. The earth trembles, breaks forth in a great noise. Lo berash Hashem, but God is not in the earthquake. V'achar harash, eish, the crackling fire of a great conflagration. Lo ve'esh Hashem. V'achar eish, and after the fire, kol, the sound, kol, t'mama, daka. Our words that enter into the poem that we recite for the great shofar. King James, the greatest translation in the world, even though it's not accurate, but it's the greatest poetic translation. Translate this as a still small voice. Birnbaum, in his translation of the Machzor, the one I grew up with, he translates it as a quiet whisper. A gentle whisper. Art Scroll, a still small sound. Ebner, I introduced myself, right? I'm Ebner. I translate it as the sound of deepest silence. Maybe influenced by Simon, but the sound of deepest silence. The first time the word Zemama appears in all of the Bible, tragedy has taken place. One should be wailing, crying, and he is silent. That is Aaron in the Mishkan, when his sons Nadav and Avihu died at the day of the dedication of the Mishkan. Vayidom Aaron. In the army, in which the best thing I did was to follow the orders. I was drafted when I was 38 or 39 years old to what I call the Walker Brigade, the old man's brigade. It used to be called Haga. Okay? And I was very good at when they said, Amo Noach, I knew how to do that. And when they said, Amo Dom, silent, I got it. Okay? I was able to do that. The rest was not so good. And I imagine Eliyahu, what he's saying, and I don't need to imagine it. If you read the chapter in 19 of the first book of Kings, you'll see he's complaining, I'm trying to do my job, I'm trying to speak to the people, they don't listen to me, they want to kill me, they're after me, what do you want? I'm just, enough. God doesn't allow him to do so. Right? There is a higher hearing the sound of Dmama Daka. I am still. Listen to my Dmama Daka. You know that when I did speak, the poet says, you, God, know that I, as Eliyahu, tried to speak your name, that I always praised your world and your splendor. Where? And that my tongue tried to say. I spoke it, I said it. Where? Your name on Court Street. Brooklyn Heights, where he lived, there's a major street, Court Street, where there's a court building or buildings. And in the world of justice and injustice, I tried to say your name. I tried to speak of the glory and the justice and the meaning and whatever else is entailed by this. I did speak your name. And for that, I was one with you. I was a ultimate Hashem, if you will. I felt your presence even though it was in the silence. I became one with that presence. As Eliyahu became one with that presence. It's not enough to hear it in the noise. You have to hear it in the silence. To become one with. There is an interpretation. When Elisha, his disciple, is asked to give a prophecy to the king of Yehudah, of Judah. But the asker is Yehoram, the son of Achav, the arch enemy and arch rival of Eliyahu. Elisha says to the king of Israel, what? I would not speak to you, I would have nothing to do with you, were it not for the king of Judah here. You, the son of Achav. And he says, I can't prophesy. This is in 2 Kings, okay, in 2 Kings chapter 2. And he says, all right, bring me a minagain, right? Nigun. Nigun is the Hebrew word for melody, right? Melody, nigun. The eye is not despair. The eye is just the beauty of, not the beauty of what I'm saying, but the beauty of what is said. Hebrew, nagain, right? What is nagain? It's a Hebrew word. It's spelled nun gimel nun. What is that? What do we call that in English? We call that a palindrome. Palindromic words are words of never ending in one way or another. Its ultimate connection in one way or another. Abba. Aleph, Beit, Aleph is a palindrome. Ima. Ima, right? Look for the English speakers among us. Okay? Dad. Mom. Sis. A nigun, you know what melody is? Melody is something that doesn't stop. It just goes back again on itself. Right? So he wants a minagain. When he heard the music, Elisha was infused with the Spirit of God. And he begins to speak. Reb Shimshon of Shepetkovka explains the meaning of shofar. Uva shofar gadol yitaka. The kol d'mamadaka yishama. Explains what is the meaning of shofar. And he explains, it's based on a teaching of the Maggid of Mezrich, the great disciple of the Baal Shem Tov. He explains, kinagain haminagain. In English, the correct translation is when the player played, when the musician made music. But he translates it when the minagain became the nigun, when the musician became the music. In a wonderful poem, doubled by Yeats, among school children, the poem ends, O body swayed to music, O brighting glance, how can we know the dancer from the dance? To be transported. I am still. There are times that I, Harvey Shapiro, the poet, relate to you back as kol d'mamadaka. But there are times that I raise my voice, even in the halls of justice, which always means at the same time the halls of injustice. And I tried to say your name. Can you say the name of God? Harvey Shapiro knows very well, though he might not go to Shul Yom Kippur, he knows very well. You don't say the name of God. Yud, Hey, and Vav, Hey. You don't say the name of God. I praised your world in splendor on Court Street, and now I stand before you in silent prayer. And the prayer is a psalm, a poem, a melody of praise. Ulecha, David HaMelech says in Tehillim, that King David says in Psalms, Ulecha, unto you, Dumiyah Tehillah, which can be translated as silence is praise. Wittgenstein ends the Tractatus, whereof one cannot speak, thereof one must be silent. We conclude, having done the journey, the itinerary that I sketched out before, we're left with going to a shtetl. It's not far from Warsaw, Zelichov in Poland. Don't know the exact year, but I say 1943. We all know what that means if we're talking about Poland, 1943. And it's about one Jew, the last Jew in the world. And it's about a world in which all prayer books have been destroyed by fire. Moshe Borochovitz. Moshe Borochovitz is a Jew who was the last Jew who survived the massacre in Zelachov. Everything was burnt. Everybody was murdered. He was hiding out in some kind of a bunker, an underground, and he managed to survive the Nazis. And while he was in this bunker in hiding, he wrote a siddur, because what could Moshe Borochovitz not imagine? If the Holocaust was unimaginable, for Moshe Borochovitz there was something else unimaginable. How could the world survive without a siddur? And he began to write a siddur, a prayer book. Began to write for memories, right? But this is a very strange prayer book, because I'm going to say a prayer in Hebrew now. Baruch Shamar V'Haya Holam Baruch Hu, Baruch, etc., etc. Blessed be He who spoke, and there was a world. Blessed be He. What you see in this siddur is not just the words that we know of the text of the Siddur, but what you see in this Siddur are suddenly in the middle of the prayers. In the middle of the prayers, suddenly, like Jews begin to walk into the Siddur, right? As if, like the Jews who are praying and they're talking to each other in the middle. Chas v'shalom, God forbid, people don't talk in synagogue, chas v'shalom. I'm sure you've never heard that, okay, or seen that, or you don't do it yourself, right? You're praying to God, you're in front of God. What do you like going on an important meeting with somebody? Like people go out, I tell guys when they go, I teach in a yeshiva, or have taught in yeshivas, I tell guys when they go on dates, the first thing you do when you take the young lady to a restaurant is you don't put your phone on the table, right? That's confused inattention. I don't refer to Denise Levertov, but you don't. So how do you choose to get it? So let's imagine Baruch Shamar, Henish Binsa, Bas Sarah Gindel, Baruch Hu, Yaakov ben Eliyahu Moshe, and so on and so forth. Jews begin marching into this prayer book. And so, of course, what he was doing, this is the interpretation, and it makes eminent sense. This Jew, Moshe Borochovitz, a simple Jew, but he understood one thing. The world can't exist without a prayer book. But what if there's nobody? What if there are no Jews there? How can you have prayer without a person being in the prayer book? We all have to be in our prayer books. So all the Jews of Zelachov are davening. All the Jews of Zelachov are praying, are yet praying, as long as this siddur and the prayers of the dead Jews of Zelachov live on in this book, the world will continue to exist. The world will continue to exist. This Siddur, okay, it survived, and I haven't seen it, but it is in, I'm reading now from the quotations. It's from a book, Mit der Sheiri Sapleta, it's a book in Yiddish, published in Toronto in 1947. And the note is, the siddur is preserved in Beit Lochamei HaGetaot, museum in Israel, the museum of the ghetto fighters. Many years ago, I gave a lecture in Nishmat, and I referred to this siddur. I referred to Moshe Borochovitz, and afterwards, a woman, I think she told me that she was originally from Toronto, came to me and said he was my cousin. The siddur still exists. I am still on a rooftop in Brooklyn on your holy day. The harbor is before me, Governor's Island, Verrazano Bridge, and the Narrows. I keep in my head what Rabbi Nachman said about the world being a narrow bridge, and that the important thing is not to be afraid. So on this day, I bless my mother and father that they not be fearful where they wander. And I ask you to bless them. And before you close your book of life, your Sefer HaChaim, remember that I always praised your world and your splendor, and that my tongue tried to say your name on Court Street in Brooklyn. Take me safely through the Narrows to the sea. Take me safely through the Narrows to the sea. And may HaKadosh Baruch Hu, may God take me, and you, and yours, and all his children safely through the Narrows, through this Mi B'Magefa, to health and to peace.